All right, 86 Boxing Haven. We're back up in this thing. This right here is what we're calling the Canelo versus Bivol pre-show. Basically, a discussion on what's going down between Canelo and Bivol. It's a light heavyweight fight. I know that Bivol probably had the WBA title, I believe. So that's what's going to be on the line. Canelo had a light heavyweight title at some point. I don't know if he has it right now, but if you're a Canelo fan or a big Canelo fan, then you probably think he's going to come away with this victory here today. So maybe a light heavyweight strap once again is in tow. But yeah, welcome Slavin Boz, actually.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. We just have so much sunshine here. It's not getting too much almost.
Good stuff. Yeah, we've it's been rainy. This has been a rainy day here, a rainy couple of days actually. So as I mentioned, still got to head out to a basketball game here shortly, and it's going to be indoor, of course. So I'm looking forward to that. So shout out to those Lady Tigers of Maryland, DC area.
Seems like it's raining everywhere but here, because everyone I talk to, they say it's raining over there. Yeah.
That's crazy how that is. It's crazy. Yeah. But as we mentioned though, today is a big day in terms of the fight scene. It's going to be none other than the, I guess, cash cow, as that term is thrown around. Cash cow, Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
Taking on Dmitry Bivol in a light heavyweight contest. And this is a very interesting matchup, one that had been talked about for a while. There was always something out there about Bivol potentially going down to 168 to face off against Canelo because of the fact that Bivol isn't a big light heavyweight by some standards, but it never happened to that degree. But lo and behold, it finally came about, and these two are actually going to set it off in what is the first ever DAZN pay-per-view. It's actually a pay-per-view on DAZN, something that they said that they weren't going to do when this was first announced. But you know how it goes in boxing. They tend to change their minds all the time.
Yes.
But thinking about it, Canelo coming in at 57-1-2. Of course, that one loss being against Floyd Mayweather. Dmitry Bivol comes in at 19-0, undefeated fighter, but he hasn't fought as frequently, especially in the latter couple of years, as Canelo Alvarez has. Yeah. So could that be a factor? Maybe. But what are your general thoughts on this matchup at 175? Canelo's, I believe, second time going up to 175.
Well, I think Bivol is a really good match for Canelo, because he hello Rodolfo. he brings the technical ability that few of Canelo's past opponents have had. I think maybe only Saunders can compare to that. Yeah, Billy Joe, who did pretty well also against him. So yeah, I think also when you think about the only light heavyweight fight Canelo has had until now was against Kovalev, right? So
yeah.
And he actually didn't look so good until he scored the knockout. He was kind of being outboxed, for a large portion of the fight. So, that tells me that maybe there is a hope. I mean, that Bivol can win this fight, even though, of course, it's gonna be hard getting the decision and all that. We know how it is when you fight Canelo, and of course, Bivol must stay away from his punches, especially body punches, I guess, and all punches, of course, in general. While at the same time, he must not just, he must be very active, of course, at the same time, not just retreat into his defensive shell, like so many others have done before. Like, for instance, Callum Smith,
Yeah, we've seen that far too often with some Canelo opponents. You have those that
Yeah,
will go out there, go at him, rather. And I
yeah.
think that Dmitry Bivol, he might have a bit of that in him.
Mm,
I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm going Bivol now. I'm not going with it just based on just what I think overall between the two skill sets and where they are trajectory wise. I'm just fond of Bivol as a fighter. That's probably not the way to go about it. When you
yeah,
think about throwing out predictions there, I've seen him live a few times, and he's actually very good. And he's not a small light heavyweight. He might be weight wise, but he
yeah,
is actually a fairly tall guy. He stands 6 foot, at least that's what he's listed as, and
yeah, yeah.
he's every bit of that when you actually see him in person. And
Mm,
Canelo is 5'9". Of course, height hasn't been an issue for Canelo,
yeah,
as he's especially with his latter fights, all of these bigger fights that he's had as of late. He's coming in each time as the smaller guy height wise.
yeah,
But it's interesting that Canelo came in at 174.4 pounds, Bivol 174.6, I believe is what it was.
mm,
So Canelo, maybe 175 is just like a natural feeling weight for him, because it
yeah.
seems like now that he's moved up 168,
Maybe.
175, his body just looks filled out and he looks super solid at each of these
Yeah,
weights. So I think it's gonna be a tough outing for Bivol in that sense because Canelo can punch.
yeah, definitely. And that Koala fight was almost 3 years ago, so maybe it's
Wow,
not.
that's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, not so fair to judge him by that now. But anyway, and Koala was still a B. I mean, really. I mean, you can call him a great fighter anyway. So.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, he was still, he probably wasn't at his peak, but he was still a very
yeah,
formidable fighter. He had just got that rematch win over Eleider Alvarez, and
yeah.
those two matched up pretty decently. Uh, excuse
And
me,
he had
when
to
they
take
fought.
a different approach boxing more than just slugging out, and he became he kind of learned to box, you might say, almost more
Yeah,
better than before anyway. So
yeah. He's been getting better, without a doubt. Shout out Rodolfo. When the last time Canelo was a shorter guy? I feel like he's been the shorter guy for a while down his
yeah,
last several fights. I don't know how tall Yildirim was, but I think Yildirim was taller
a
than him.
little,
I think
yeah,
he was
I
taller than
think
him.
like 5'10", 5'11", something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, Canelo. Yeah, I feel like he's been the shorter. I don't know when the last time he was the taller guy in the fight.
yeah,
Maybe that
that's a
was.
better question. Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe that was Floyd Mayweather. I don't know.
yeah,
It's been a minute.
yeah. That was a 154, definitely.
Oh yeah. You're right, and certainly since he's moved up to 160, I think he's been this 160, and of course 168 and 175 now.
Yeah.
But I think he's been the shorter guy in all of his fights. Now that I think about it, of course we have to dive into that, but that is a pretty good question. Oh,
Yeah,
bigger guy. Okay, gotcha, Rodolfo. Yeah, that's what
bigger
you're
guy.
saying. Yeah, that's a tough one. Wimsley's a bigger guy. Let me look at his thing.
Well, I think against Saunders, maybe he was kind of, because Saunders was a middleweight for a long time. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you factor in that. Yeah, weight
yeah,
wise, I mean, yes, Saunders had
yeah.
competed at middleweight primarily,
Hmm.
but he had a couple of fights there at 168 prior. So yeah,
Yeah,
so he was in with Yildirim, Caleb Smith, Sergey Kovalev, Danny Jacobs, Rocky Fielding, Gennady Golovkin, Chavez Jr., Liam Smith, maybe Liam Smith. I think he's about 5'8", 5'9".
5'9", I think. Yeah,
So they're
5'9"
kind of
and
the
a half.
same.
Yeah,
They're around the
yeah,
same height though, because yeah, he's five
yeah,
nine and a half. Canelo's listed as 5'9", so technically, I guess he's a little bit bigger.
yeah,
Oh, Amir Khan. I know Amir Khan is taller, but technically, yeah, he's the smaller fighter. So you
yeah.
had to go back to like 2015, Amir Khan, and then Miguel Cotto before that, who was 5'7" and not a
Yeah.
natural 160 pounder, because I think he had a 160-pound belt, right? even though he
Yeah,
was
he did.
fighting more at 150 something pounds.
Yeah, he beat Martinez to win that.
Oh yeah, that is right. Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
shell of Martinez right there.
yeah. But he was very strong physically, so he could fight at the 160, even though he
Yeah, that is
wasn't
right.
really a 160 pounder.
Yeah. You're right, Rodolfo. Yeah, it was Cotto. So yeah, that's pretty interesting going back to it now. So yeah, that's been a minute. That's been a
Yeah,
good minute right there. So Canelo has come in as the shorter guy since at least 2015 time frame.
yeah, 2015.
That's crazy.
Wow, 7 years. That's
Yeah, I
not.
know that's crazy, and he's gotten better. He's gotten better since then, which is even more crazy. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he was a lineal champion. Yeah, that's crazy, right?
yeah, pretty much.
What's even more crazy is that Martinez is back fighting, which is crazy. In fact,
Oh yeah, right.
I haven't seen any of them, but I know that he's back out there doing some stuff.
I don't get it. Like he's now like 46, 7. I think 47.
Yeah, I know he's
What
up there because
what
he
has he?
kind of he
Yeah,
came on late as far as when he started to get his get that notoriety and all that stuff,
yeah,
and he was really on top of his game. So he had a few good years there. That hey, he was a beast. You know, I thought he was
yeah.
well certainly the best
He
middleweight
was
out
really,
there.
yeah,
But yeah, crazy to see him that he's still out
yeah.
there boxing now. Though I will say that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Cotto Bivol, welcome everyone who's tuning in. We're talking Cotto Bivol, which is a 175-pound matchup that is taking place. And let me see. So yeah, it's just the WBA title on the line because that's what Bivol has had now for a while.
Yeah.
And actually,
It's his ninth defense. Yeah.
oh, ninth defense, crazy. Doesn't seem like he's defended it that many times, but yeah, looking back here, it's crazy.
I believe in his last fight, was it against Craig Richards? It was. They said he didn't. I didn't see.
Oh, he had one after that. It's Solomon, which I haven't seen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It happened in Russia.
I think they said against Craig Richards, he didn't look so good, but like as usual.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, I think he didn't really go for it. You know, he wasn't going for a knockout like that. But I felt he outboxed him. And Richards, this was like his first time on the stage. But interesting, Richards is about to take on Joshua Buatsi, so it's a good matchup.
Yeah, that's right.
Richards wasn't too bad. He was just more unknown, but in the actual fight, he looked to be pretty decent. He's definitely skilled.
Yeah, he looks like a very solid, like contender. I would say.
Yeah.
European level or something like that.
Yeah, and you look at it across the board for such a short amount of fights. Dmitry Bivol, he has a pretty solid record. He has wins over Sullivan Barrera, Isaac Chilemba, John Pascal, Joe Smith Jr. So he's been in there with some guys. In that Joe Smith Jr. fight, he was basically outboxed Joe Smith Jr. thoroughly, but he did get caught there at the end. But Joe Smith is a big puncher, though. Probably a bigger puncher than Canelo's, especially at 175 pounds, you know?
Yeah, it's not easy beating Joe Smith Jr., definitely. I mean, the only reason he lost to Sullivan Barrera was because he broke his right hand, I believe.
He did get hurt. And he kept fighting, you know, but he was
put him down and then that was really unlucky, but that's boxing.
So Rodolfo didn't expect it to be his ninth defense. Agree. Solomon was as tall as hell against Bivol. Solomon, that's one I haven't seen. Oh yeah, Solomon is
3.5, I think, something like that.
You're right. 6'3.5". Interesting.
Really tall for a light heavyweight,
Definitely.
I trust he'll be moving up to cruiserweight soon, perhaps.
Yeah, you know, he has a frame seemingly to do so. So another Russian fighter there. So yeah, this should be very interesting. I think just overall, I think that both of these guys are good boxers. Of course, you could argue that the better boxer, when you look at it fundamentally, is Dmitry Bivol. Power-wise, It's going to be
Bivol.
interesting. Dmitry Bivol, he does have power, but he doesn't necessarily gun for the knockout like
Yeah,
some of the guys that we're accustomed to there at
that's
175.
yeah. Obviously, I mean, he won his last 6 fights on points, so
Yeah.
that says it all. Even though he did manage to stop Barrera in the last round.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because he started out his career knocking a lot of people out.
yeah, that's
Yeah, here
true.
to Telly, and it's been less of that.
Yeah, I was surprised to see, after I saw that he hadn't really knocked out anyone in so long, and wow, what's going on?
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see if this raises the level of his sort of aggressiveness or anything of that nature. See if that raised his. This is going to
yeah,
be a big moment. Of course, his biggest fight. This is going to be this biggest stage because even the other fights, they're in the likes of Verona, New York. So that's where I seen him at Verona, New York, Atlantic City, and then
hmm,
here in DC. So it's going to be a
yeah,
big stage for him as far as this is going to be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. All the lights are going to be there.
yeah,
This is a big one for him, but I think that he has the
yeah.
mettle to show up and do his thing. But it's going to be it's going to take Bivol not letting the moment get too big, as we've seen with some fighters at times.
T-Mobile, yeah, T-Mobile Arena, arena. Sorry. Yeah, this is gonna. But I think it's good that this fight came now because he's already 31. He doesn't want to wait for
Yeah,
another year to fight a guy like Canelo, who is still wrecking everybody. So, you
yeah.
know, he want to do it while he's still at his best. He's at his peak.
Yeah,
So,
I think this is a good time, and
yeah.
interestingly enough, Canelo is 31 as well.
Oh
So
yeah, right.
yeah, that's crazy thinking about it because we've seen Canelo sort of grow in the sport
So
from a young
long.
age.
Yeah. See, I think he won the first world title in 2010. And
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, that's
beat
crazy.
Matthew Hatton. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that was that.
154.
Yeah, I remember that fight. That was a good fight actually. A good fight in terms of
Yeah.
it had a little bit of excitement to it.
Hmm. I kind of remember it slightly, that much.
Yeah, yeah.
He says.
Yeah, same
Okay.
here. The other Hatton brother got some shine, but
Yeah.
Rodolfo excited to better BF versus Joe Smith is official too.
Oh yeah.
100% agree. That's one of the
Great
most
fight.
exciting fights in boxing right here. At least on paper, it has the potential for being that. I just hope somehow that the GG fight doesn't happen and instead we get the winner. But hey, I think that many people would be with that. But interestingly enough, and Boz and I have discussed this. There are a lot of people out there clamoring for another Triple G fight like that third one, and I feel like, and I know that he does as well, to a similar degree, that man, with the amount of time that has passed since those last two fights, that it's just going to be different. It's going to be tough. At least it's tough, seemingly, to just side with Triple G given the inactivity over this
Yeah.
period versus Canelo, and then Triple G would have to move up to 168, I believe. That would be the intent. So, yeah, I'm with you there, Rodolfo. What do
Yeah.
you
I
think,
mean,
Boz?
Triple G took so much punishment against Murata, so if that was like, if he was to take that kind of punishment against Canelo, no way could he bounce back, and win
Yeah,
that fight. That's for
yeah, I
sure.
agree. I think it was a good win for him in terms of
Yeah,
he knocked off a champion,
yeah,
multi-time champion. He really been around there for a while, or hanging out there for a while. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't one that made me think that okay, yes, this
yeah,
Canelo versus Triple G Part 3 is going to be the best fight of the bunch. I don't know. I think it has the makings of being a dud, or at least
yeah,
Triple G going out in less than flattering fashion, which of course we've seen on a number of occasions. But yeah, it's just
yeah.
interesting.
I mean, people think, oh no, he's a beast. It can happen to him, and then it happens.
Yeah,
There's always a first time for everything, for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. The Rodolfo, yeah, the build up, yeah, Triple G doesn't seem to like Canelo. Yeah, they definitely have a little bit of bad blood. I know Triple
yeah,
G feels he won both of those fights, and many people do as well. Um, so yeah, there's definitely some bad blood there. They're a good sort of contrast rivalry wise. Just thinking about it, and that's what made the first two fights so anticipated, and I'd argue great fights. So yeah, it'll be interesting for this third because I'm sure they know each other now, and as they're going through that build up, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk and discussions on why it hasn't happened sooner as opposed to now as Triple G has gotten up there a little bit in age.
yeah. And I believe that was if Triple G had won the second fight, he would have tied Bernard Hopkins, or maybe broken even his record of defenses at
Oh,
middleweight.
okay. Wow,
Yeah.
yes.
So he has another reason to be pissed at Canelo, to
Yeah,
hate him.
yeah, that is interesting right there. Yeah, that's a pretty solid record there.
Yeah,
Well, this one will be this will be interesting as mentioned because it will be at 168, which may not be a problem overall as far as
yeah.
Triple G. He's a
He's like,
solid middleweight. It doesn't look like 168 would be an issue. That's probably just below where he walks around at or something like that. So maybe that makes it more comfortable and fresh for him. He doesn't have to do as much to knock off those extra 8 pounds at this particular point in his career. So maybe
yeah.
that's sort of like a silver lining in it.
Maybe, yeah, I think so. Probably he's not. Yeah, at the age where he must struggle at least a little to make that 160 limit, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
he's a
That,
rather strong guy anyway. So yeah,
oh yeah, I agree. Now going back to your other comment, Rodolfo, if Canelo were to take on the winner of Smith Jr. Beterbiev or Beterbiev, however you pronounce it. Now that would be an interesting one. Now I think many people are probably leaning towards Beterbiev. I know that's what I'm leaning towards. I think he's the top dog at 100. I think him and Bivol are the top dog at 175. It would have been interesting to see the two of them fight. And I know there were discussions of that, even though we never did get to see it. So I would also throw them sort of like a 1A 1B type thing because I think they both bring something to the table that makes them worthy of having a crown there. But yeah, just thinking about a potential Canelo versus Beterbiev, that's the fight that many in boxing say, okay, that will really take his legacy to another level if Canelo were to go in there and defeat Beterbiev at 175 pounds. What do you think of that fight?
I don't think Canelo will take that fight. Really, I think it's too dangerous simply for him. But if he should take it, of course, all props to him, and
Yeah.
especially, and if he should win, of course, that will be his crowning achievement, and he might as well retire, because he's not gonna get any higher. So
Yeah, you're right. That will be interesting. The thing is, people, we've kind of been saying, hey, we want to see it before Beterbiev slips or starts to show signs of slippage, which he still looks to be on his game now. I think he's probably, like 37 now, maybe 36, 37,
yeah, he's
somewhere in
kind
there.
of.
So
I was surprised to see how his age. I thought he was younger. Yeah.
yeah, and I guess he spent some time in the amateur, a good deal of time in the amateur side. He kind of turned pro late, and that's what factored into him. But when he first turned pro, he started out the gates on a fast pace, and then it kind of slowed down a bit. But I know he had some promotional issues too, which tends to derail some fighters as well.
Yeah, he's 37. Yeah, that's right.
37. So yeah, he still looks good. He doesn't look like he slipped. And of course, with that age, the power is going to still be there. So we'll see how he looks in this Smith Jr. fight. And if he comes out on top, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Canelo wants to jump up there.
He looks scary. I was gonna say he looks like a werewolf in a
Yeah, he
man.
does. and
In a
looking at
mask.
seeing his
Yeah,
training videos, it just looks super intense. Just seeing him in
yeah,
training when he's doing his little fingertip push up type things or whatever. It's like crazy.
yeah. I mean, just looking at his photo on box tracks, like he's saying, "Come here and I'll eat you. Come on there to attack me." You know.
Yeah, the thing, I always liked Beterbiev had seen him, but the thing that let me know he's the real deal was when he the way he took out Tavares Cloud. When that happened, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy is serious right here.
That guy, Tavares Cloud, he had talent, but he was too content to rest on his laurels. And
yeah, he was all about his fire. I told you, and we mentioned this last year or the year before, but Tavares Cloud, he hadn't fought since that fight, but he ended up fighting in 2020.
All right.
He's how old is he? How old is Tavares right here?
He's like, I guess,
I imagine he's probably around the same age as
40,
somewhere around that. But yeah, he fought in 2020.
43, maybe 42, 40.
But it doesn't look like it was a serious opponent because it was 4-11.
Yeah, maybe like my age or a little younger than me, I think.
Yeah, it's insane. We're getting a Bivol fight though a couple of years ago. It was just a fantasy fight. Now we're getting a fight. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. So I give props to Canelo. People complain about. I get why they do it, but people complain, oh, Canelo isn't fighting this guy, he isn't fighting that guy. Look, he's fighting more than pretty much all of the top fighters who are active. He's the most active of all the top fighters, and he's arguably the top fighter in the sport. He doesn't cheat you as far as, hey, you're going to see him out there. If it's up to him, he's going to get out there and he's going to fight. And, he fights 4 times in a year, which is extensive these days,
Yeah, he certainly doesn't disappoint or let anybody down. That comes to
shout out Ranger Danger. Shout out Ranger Danger. Go check out Ranger Danger out there on YouTube, everyone. Give him a follow. Very entertaining stuff. Shout out Ranger Danger. Fingertip push up. Yeah, Rodolfo. Yeah, some crazy little thing he does with his finger push up style. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Beterbiev is he's intense.
Oh yeah, right. That's kind of rocky stuff.
Yeah. It's insane. Now, speaking of insane, and maybe it's not so much so considering what we've seen thus far, but in recent news, the word has come out that Canelo is willing to face Alexander Usyk at 201 pounds. I don't know how serious this really is, but at 201 pounds, and I saw something, I believe yesterday, where Usyk said that he is willing to come down to 200 pounds to face Canelo. I think they want it to be, or Canelo's team or whatever, they would want it to be 201 pounds because that would mean it's a heavyweight fight.
He doesn't want that. No, I don't think he could take. I mean, those punches, even from a guy like Usyk, who is not, a big heavyweight puncher or anything, but still, I think he could stop Canelo in like 3 or 4 rounds if he really went for it. Or even less, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
But it would be interesting to see how Usyk would look, how his body would transform with him dropping down from 225, because
that might
that's the thing,
that might affect him, but he's a beast, he's not.
Yeah, he is. He is. That is true. He packed on some muscle to get up there, so we had to lose a little bit. But yeah, it may not be.
Have you seen his fight with Marco Hook, for instance? Each time he got hit well, he was like, do this.
Marco Hook. Marco Hook. He is pretty solid. Was he? I forget where he's from. He's not Polish, is he?
No, he's from Serbia, actually. But
Serbia, okay.
He
I
has
remember
been
Hook.
in Germany. He was trained. He trained out of Germany, but he's from Serbia, from
Okay, cool,
South
cool. Yeah,
Serbia
yeah.
for
I know he
sure.
was spent a long time there in the top ranks there at cruiserweight. You know, Hook was pretty
Yeah,
good, pretty solid.
yeah. He's Ranger Dangers has something to say. Canelo wishes he could fight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. Hey, it would be very different, of course, now, but I think this version of Canelo, if he fought that version of Mayweather, yeah, it would have been very interesting. I think they fought at a catch weight, right, of 152 pounds or something like that, I believe. So it was considered to be 100 or super welterweight matchup,
Mhm.
154-pound matchup, but it was a catch weight. But by that same token, both he and Canelo were fighting a lot of catch weight. Well, I guess Canelo more so at that 154,
Yeah,
155-pound range. We call him Mr. 155. But yeah, I think this version of Canelo would prove to be a tough matchup for
yeah,
Mayweather, especially if they did it fully at 154. But of course, it all depends, though. It's kind
yeah.
of, because this
Well,
version of Canelo is a little bit bigger, stronger,
yeah,
and that would probably be the factoring thing. And I feel like he has gotten better. So the boxing, Canelo or Mayweather would be considered the better boxer all day. So I think that would still pose some problems for him. So it's a matter
yeah,
of if Canelo can catch him and land in the same way that he has been doing with these bigger guys that he's been meeting.
yeah. No, he was definitely not yet a complete fighter when he fought Mayweather. But the one rematch I think they really should have made was with Lara
Oh yeah,
against Lara. Because that
yeah.
one also, so many were saying Lara actually won that fight, and I do agree.
I was saying that at the time. I haven't gone back and looked at it for a second time.
Yeah,
But at the time, I felt the same way. I felt that Laura had edged them, and
yeah,
I understand why the rematch didn't happen, of course. But
yeah,
yeah, that would have been an interesting one if it would have happened at some
yeah,
point. Even a couple of years from that point. Because Laura, he was still out there and he was still doing his thing. Of course, Laura's up
no,
there now, but you
yeah,
know,
now fighting at middleweight, so yeah.
but yeah,
I
that would have been an interesting one.
I see as a fight coming up at the end of this month against Gary O'Sullivan. So
Oh, we
yeah,
were just mentioning him. He'd be
yeah,
good for John L. Sullivan movie.
yeah.
Spike O'Sullivan. Yeah, that's an interesting matchup.
Mm,
This is at 160?
yeah. It's like actually he holds now another WBA champion. We were not aware of his Lara. No,
Uh,
they have so many champions. It's kind of ridiculous. Really.
yeah, that is
WBA.
crazy. Yeah, WBA. So this is at what, 160?
It's
Oh yeah, world
160.
middleweight title. So
Yeah.
160. Hmm. So those are vacant, or I guess
Mm,
Canelo had. I can't remember who had. So Andre has one belt, or he may have moved up. Or he was supposed to be fighting at a weight above or something like that. I recall.
yeah.
Interesting. So Lara's about to get another chance at the title. I do think he's a better fighter than Spike O'Sullivan. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
what Laura has in the tank, basically. And I
That's
didn't see
right.
that fight where he
Smart.
knocked. I saw the highlights where he knocked out Tommy LaManna in his last fight. But
Yeah.
of course, LaManna is just really not one of those like elite level fighters.
No, no. I believe he was in one of them in a prediction league group, which I was in it before. I know that's this guy, but I'm not sure. I know his name was Lamana, but I think that's the guy.
No, it might have
That's
been. I
yeah,
know he's been around for a little bit, but yeah, it
yeah,
might have been him.
yeah. So I was kind of telling him about, he was like, because in The Sopranos, you had this character called Feech Lamana, and he was like, oh, everybody was calling me Feech, for a long time after that those episodes came out of Sopranos.
That is funny. Each interesting stuff. Hey, Ranger Danger. I know this off topic. How do you feel about Davis versus Romero? Tank Davis versus
Romero knocks him
Rolly
out in the
Romero.
first round. No, sorry.
Well, I think that Rolly is. I think that he has a lot of hype to a certain degree, but I think that Tank is gonna knock Rolly out. I don't know. Rolly hasn't been in with anyone like Tank, and Rolly when he fought. I know we were talking about this at one point recently when he fought Marinez, like Jackson Marinez or something Marinez. That fighter. Many, myself included, felt that Rolly was outboxed in that fight, and he somehow came away with the victory. But it was a TMT card, or a TMT promoted event. I believe it was on Showtime. So I think that this TMT clash between two TMT fighters is going to be exciting, maybe for a round or two. But I think that Tank is going to knock him out, and Rolly is going to try and talk his way into something else here next year.
He will send him rolling out of the ring.
yeah. Tank will have rolling. That's what I feel. But it should be exciting at least for the first couple of rounds, if it goes 2 rounds, you know. But Rolly, he hasn't been in with anyone who punches like Tank.
Well, he looks quite like Fundora. From this picture, I see Rolly. He looks pretty similar to Sebastian Fundora.
But yeah, Rolly, he does have he does have a little bit of punch that he packs or whatever. But
he stopped Anthony Yigit from Sweden, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Yigit. You know, I think Yigit he had lost to Ivan Baranchyk in the World Boxing Super Series. Here goes a Facebook user. Tank should win this fight with ease. Rolly has some sneaky power and an awkward fast pitch style. Just saying anything can happen, and Tank can get complacent. That is true. But yeah, I'm with you. Tank should get him out of there early. But you're right. Tank. I know he has tended to get complacent in some fights. I know that this build-up has been funny between himself and Rolly, so maybe that makes Tank want to come in there and just kind of dispatch of him early. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Probably will be 2-3 rounds, maybe 4. Yeah.
Rodolfo Golovkin has a WBA 160. Alora has a regular title. Oh yeah, one of those situations where you have multiple versions of a title. I thought WBA, they said they were going to stop doing that stuff, right?
Yeah, that's kind of really ridiculous, as I said. Have so many champions in one division. Like, come on.
Interesting.
Oh, Miter Span. Hello.
Miter Span. Welcome, Miter Span. Good seeing you.
Always good seeing you, yeah.
I like that little profile picture of yours right there. Some interesting stuff going on with Spider-Man there.
Weird.
Hard to keep up with all the fights recently, just waiting for Wilder to come back. Yeah, that would be cool to see him back out there against someone. Also hope we finally get to see dream fights between Joshua Fury and Wilder, but Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. too. Yeah, that Crawford Errol Spence Jr., the best fight in boxing, many say. I think so as well. I definitely want to see that one. That's probably the fight I want to see more than anything. At one point, I wanted to see Joshua versus Wilder in a similar fashion, but not as much now. And of course, I think it still would be an interesting style clash. So I still think it's one of the better matchups in boxing. So it would be cool if we did get that. It's just a matter of we'll have to see how Joshua does here with Usyk. And if Joshua wins, of course, then that kind of log jams the top level there for a little bit longer, unless there's some agreement that has been made between Joshua and Fury under the table. Should Joshua win, that they would face each other. But if not, then I'd imagine that Usyk is going to want that rematch. So we could see 3 fights from them if this goes the way that it could potentially go. But of course, it all depends on how Joshua looks when he comes out there first, of course.
Yeah, I think I've seen an article just the other day about something on Wilder coming back, like looking for new fights, and
but I definitely want to see Wilder. I mean, I think I wanted to see Wilder versus Ruiz when they were talking about that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. That definitely doesn't look like it's gonna happen. I don't want
to be very interesting, to see how Ruiz, if he can cope with that kind of adversity and be able to do something similar like he did to Joshua in the first fight anyway.
That would be interesting. I don't think we're gonna get that though, but I do think that or I do recall seeing potential of Ruiz versus Ortiz, which I thought would have been interesting.
Ortiz.
Looks like
I think Ortiz is past his best by now, probably.
I agree with you there. It would be interesting to see how it looked, given how Ruiz looked in his last fight against Arreola, who's certainly past his best.
And then we must also mention Frank Sanchez as well.
Oh yeah, Frank. You know what? He is sort of a dark horse out there. Nobody really talks about him. I actually thought that the big punching Jagba was gonna defeat him, but you know what? Hey, I gotta give Frank his props. He's the real deal. He's the real deal for sure.
Also there's Oscar Rivas, even more of a dark horse.
I do like Rivas, but he got that Bridgerweight title with the WBC. I wonder if he's gonna kind of just stick in that mold or whatever. But he would be an interesting fight for Wilder, I think.
But you know who I would really love to see in fight but this is because I'm from that country where. I would really love to see him fight Alen Babic because that would be very interesting because they are about equal in height also, and their styles are very similar, very aggressive. Even though Alen is even more aggressive.
Ruiz and Babic.
No, Rivas and Babic.
Oh, Rivas. Okay, yeah. That would be an interesting one. Babic. Yeah, that would. I know it would be exciting. It would certainly be exciting. Because every Babic fight is pretty much exciting. I want to see that as well. You remember I had thrown out there, that's the heavyweight fight that Canelo should be gunning for right there.
And he is more of a Bridgerweight kind of guy. And,
because he's barely over 200 pounds.
He's been also considering, I think, recently fighting at Bridgerweight. So.
Okay, that might be the move for him right there. Shout out Scrapbook Boxing. Welcome. I appreciate it. Everybody go check out Scrapbook Boxing. Follow him. You want the history and Scrapbook. I hadn't commented, but I did see what you're see the first video on the color line. That's some legit stuff right there. Very informative. Scrapbook Boxing.
And also that's a shame that Filip Hrgović, that fight he was going to have.
That was a fight I was looking for very much. I have a video out there on Zili Zhang. I thought he was an interesting heavyweight, and this was going to be a very, very interesting matchup, and I think at the right time for both of them as well.
And I think Hrgović made a mistake because he should have gone on with the fight. But that's his own personal choice, of course. His father died, of course.
Some people, they'll fight, they'll continue going on, others, it's one of those personal choices, certainly, but
you had that
unfortunately close to the fight,
Unfortunately,
it was so close to the fight. I didn't know this until yesterday when I saw the weigh-in photos, and I was like, what's going on here? Then I had to look up to see what happened.
That was very unfortunate.
Filip Hrgović, who had to pull out of his contest with Zili Zhang or Zhang Zili, the Chinese heavyweight, after his father passed away. So Hrgović is out.
Hopefully they can reschedule it to.
I think it would be good. I think it would be good to do that.
As soon, how do you say it, to happen soon.
Agree with those folks. That should happen. We're looking forward to that. Facebook user Jared Anderson versus Wilder. Very interesting.
Who's
what I say? I love what Jared Anderson has done thus far. He's an exciting fighter. Do you know Jared Anderson?
No, never heard of him.
Okay, you would have had to see. Well, he's an American heavyweight that is on the rise. He was an amateur as well. He was pretty good, and he's just gotten better and better with each fight. He's about, I want to say, like 6'3", somewhere around there, and he's he's getting very, very good, and he's gradually been stepping up. So you will have had to seen. I know you're over. Considering you're in Norway, you will have to seen the
right.
top ranked fights. There's sometimes when he's been the co-main on top ranked fights.
He's good.
But a lot of his earlier fights were more so on the undercards of the top ranked fights. But he's legit. He has the personality. He has the style. He wants it. He seems to really want it. So he's the next great American heavyweight. And I think that that would be very interesting. Some would say, or some would ask, is this too early for Jared Anderson? I don't know. Jared Anderson is very skilled. He's more skilled than Wilder. So the only thing he would have to worry about really is the punching power. But that said, Jared Anderson, he's
so
legit.
far he's knocked out everybody. I like that.
and there might have been a couple of fights early when he first started out where when he was going for the knockout, he was pressing a little too much. But as of late, he's really taking his time the way he's gone about it and set it up his punches well. So you have to check out some highlights of him on YouTube.
I will.
He's legit. He's legit.
Definitely, yeah.
He's legit. I think he's further along than what his record may show or seem. They're just bringing him up, the right way or whatever. I think he's gonna make some waves as he gets out there more. So that would be an interesting one. I don't think that would happen. Probably because of the PBC top rank thing, and I'm sure that PBC wouldn't want to throw Wilder in there with Anderson. Because him losing to Jared Anderson, that would definitely drop his stock in the sense of, he's a very young fighter who hasn't even hit his prime yet. So that would not look good for Wilder if he were to lose to him.
For sure. We have one actually next week, a pretty exciting heavyweight fight. Tony Yoka versus Martin Baccala. How do you pronounce it?
Oh, yeah? Tony Yoka. He's another interesting, I guess he's kind of a little bit beyond the prospect stage, but some would call him a prospect. He's a very interesting fighter.
Yeah, 11-0 with 9 knockouts. Yeah.
So I guess he's still kind of prospectish, but Yoka looks pretty solid, and that's another name that was thrown out there with Herkovich, but it didn't happen. But that would be a good one. I didn't know Yoka was fighting.
They fought in the Olympics, him and Hergovich, and they were like, it was a good fight, but I think, it was very close. Some say that Hergovich should have won even, so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, Martin McCauley. I've seen McCauley before. I've seen him. Who did I see him on?
Very big
Michael
guy.
Hunter. Okay, that's who I was talking about.
Yeah, that's his only loss. That it was some kind of cut.
I believe that's the only fight I've seen of his. But 17-1. So Yoka. So interesting matchup for Yoka. Michael Hunter, another guy out there who's kind of out there. He's willing to take on anyone, but he hasn't really gotten a big shot yet at heavyweight, and likely won't anytime soon.
He's pretty amazing. Very athletic and all that, very fast and aggressive.
Yeah. Sanchez looked very impressive because the job. Ortiz and Sanchez would be a good fight because both of them are respected human fighters, but Ruiz or such it's annoying. I agree with Adolfo. Yeah, Sanchez. He was very impressive against a job. He's very skilled. He's one of the more skilled heavyweights. And he's a tough outing for. I think all of the fighters who are not named Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, maybe Alexander Usyk, but I think at this stage, for everyone else, I think he would be a very tough outing, even for maybe Usyk and Fury to a certain degree, because he really puts his skills on the forefront before anything. So he doesn't take any of these risky chances. He really puts his punches together well and all of that. So that would be interesting. But Ortiz versus Sanchez, that could be sort of a passing of the torch thing. I can't recall if Sanchez. I guess he's with PBC, so that could happen. So that would be interesting. An all-Cuban match. Supposedly, what would be even more interesting? I remember seeing something saying that Cuba has now allowed pro boxing or something like that. They have changed their sort of ban on it or stance on it, because previously it's been banned. It was banned under Raul Fidel Castro, sorry, and it's changed as of recent. So think about a big Cuban fight that went down. That's potentially one, of course. Cuban heavyweights setting the tone for the first match pro match in Cuba.
Yeah, that's gonna be really awesome for boxing if that happens, and it will probably.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I know their economy operates a little differently, so it'll be interesting to see what the economics of making a fight happen there would be. You know, imagine it'd be pretty interesting getting something off there. A lot of thought would certainly have to go in, or planning would have to go into it for sure.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who would want to take that risk on it. Iran Phillips.
I think we'll win in this Canelo versus Bivol.
Oh, yes.
Welcome,
Saran.
I think Bivol can win definitely, but I mean he must really kind of outbox Canelo convincingly, or otherwise I don't think he will get the decision from all the judges anyway. So that you know how it goes. So I guess the safest bet is to say Canelo wins, but I think it will go the distance, very likely, most likely. Yeah, I doubt Bivol will get knocked out.
Yeah. I don't see that either. Not that Canelo couldn't pull it off, but I don't see Bivol going out like that. And of course, he was able to take Joe Smith Jr.'s punches, even when hurt. And that was the first time we really saw him hurt. He was still able to make it through there. I think that happened in like the 10th round, 10th or 11th round. So he can take a big punch for sure. He can take a big punch.
He's a tough cookie, he's of the same mold as Triple G, you might say, because their mothers are both from Central Asia. Triple G from Kazakhstan. Bivol's mother is from Kyrgyzstan, which is like bordering country to Kazakhstan.
Oh yeah. And a lot of those guys coming out of those areas who become the top fighters, they will have had to go through some tough competition if you really think about it, because a lot of those guys, they come into the pros given their amateur backgrounds already pretty much near seasoned, so that's why they're able to be like 11-0 and fighting for a title, or their first version of a title.
Exactly. They don't really first fight 15-20 guys who are like B level, C level, and then they go. It's very like just a few fights, 6-7 fights at the lower level, then you go at the best guys,
Mirajan Akhmadaliev, he's from Uzbekistan. I think he's has like 6, maybe 7 fights. He already has a major championship.
Yeah, and the guy who is fighting tonight, I believe, where is he there? Oh no, I can't see him. Maybe that fight was cancelled.
Who was that?
That was this guy, Shakran Giyasov, his name was something like that.
On the undercard of
he was. I thought he was gonna fight, or has that fight happened? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting.
Gonna see. I know he's 12-0. He's from Uzbekistan. But he's gonna fight tonight at this same arena. Against Christian Gomez, some guy called Christian.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I don't know. Have I seen this guy? I don't know that I've seen him, man.
A welterweight. Yeah, I will check him out.
It should be interesting. So I guess that's not bad. Yeah, these are two. Let me see. Yeah, Gomez 22-1. So interesting. Yeah, Montana Love is going to be fighting. I like Montana Love. He's really come out of late, or at least he's starting to get some shine. So we'll see how he continues to do as he continues to fight. But I
Yeah,
like the fact that he's getting some shine. Montana Love. Jared
he's
Anderson was good,
pretty.
I didn't speak about without a doubt. Rodolfo. Yeah, the politics of the promotional stuff definitely does. So they make some fights. They'll work across the board to make certain fights, but I think the fighter has to really, really demand it. And but I guess if you can get your paydays or whatever, or the same level of paydays fighting the guys that are already internal to your promotion and making it easier to make, then I
Yeah,
guess that's what many opt to
yeah.
do.
What I hate the most is the preferential treatment these stars get. Like for instance, you had for instance, Sugar Ray Leonard when he was fighting against Donny Lalonde. He was Donny had to put up his title but he was a light heavyweight champion. But Sugar Ray, he came in at just above 160. He was a super middleweight, but still, when he won, he won the light heavyweight title, and Donny had to actually go down kind of below the light heavyweight limit, so that was very unfair.
Yeah, that definitely. I remember that.
Yeah, and
Because
that kind of really,
some
it
people
really
question
weakened him
whether
also.
it should be considered
Yeah,
that title should be considered legitimate.
yeah, he was really weakened also because I had kind of an interview with Donny 5 years ago, and he told me about that. And
Oh yeah. I imagine. I bet. It's different. It's different compared to back in the day because you had now back in the day even they would do catch weight fights at varying times, but just a different route to getting there because you had to take on the guy. And but yeah, it's interesting more so now with the amount of titles out there, and you can potentially win a title against a guy with one of the alphabet titles. And it could be considered on that same level if you look back to a fighter from back in the day when they only had an opportunity to fight for one title. If they got that chance, it does look a bit questionable in some sense.
yeah, definitely. And
Hello, John. Welcome, John Perkinson. Hey, thank you for coming in. Bivol 12-round decision at TKO. Hey, Hey, I'm with you. I said I'm rocking with my man Bivol here tonight. We're gonna see how he does. But it should be a good fight. I think it's gonna be a good matchup, good test for Canelo Alvarez. And he will have gained if he's able to pull it off, especially in dominant fashion. He will have gained even more respect because Bivol is most certainly a real fighter. And so it should be an interesting test without a doubt.
this is a Bivol supporters chat.
Yeah. Vaz if everyone to know, he's one of the bigger Canelo fans out there.
No, not really.
Just kidding.
Especially not as big as that guy. What's his name? James Dominguez and Kelly Pavlik. If you went to one of their podcasts, all they go on is Canelo this, Canelo that. Canelo can move mountains. He can, jump over oceans. As far as they are concerned, there's no fault with him.
Yeah, this is most certainly his moment. Facebook user. What about Boots Ennis versus Keith Thurman? Woo, that's a good one. I don't see Keith taking that fight. I know Keith tried to act like he didn't know who Boots was.
That was pretty.
I don't see Keith taking that fight unless they have to have some type of sweet deal on the line where that hey, if he loses, I will have gotten paid the most I've ever gotten paid, and I was already thinking about hanging him up anyway. I don't see him taking that fight. He has to be forced into that fight. Facebook user, I don't see it happening.
Shame. It would be a really good one. Yeah,
it would. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing it. I think it's definitely an interesting matchup. Solid veteran who seems to be, back in the mix somewhat. taking on one of the promising young and up and comers, always looking for the next big name that he can add to his resume. I'd of course favor Boots Ennis because I think he's the total package. Of course, he should continue to get better and work on his game. But I just think from what I've seen thus far, man, he's the real deal. That would be an interesting fight. I just don't see Keith Thurman signing on the dotted line for that right now. I think he would definitely do it with he would certainly fight Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford or whatever, the winner of that next or something like that, because of the stakes at it. But with Boots still to a certain degree building his name, I know that Keith Thurman is not going to jump in the mix with him.
No, not unless he gets like, I don't know, 5 million or something for that fight. 6.
Yeah, they're gonna have to break the bank for him right there.
Yeah, like, if the money is right, I'm gonna come on the money. Yeah.
I want to see or a fight that I had thrown out there that I definitely want to see is Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz at some point in the future. But Virgil Ortiz had this issue making 147 for this previously canceled fight, so that may not happen unless it's at 154 pounds sometime down the road.
Yeah, he's a pretty big welterweight, Ortiz, but so is Ennis. Anyway, he's tall. They're about same height, 5'10". So I guess they could kind of face some sort of catch weight, if nothing.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Shout out there, Super 5. Let me see. I had to go to Facebook, but yeah, hey, you're right. Though you're right. Hey, the best should fight the best. I mean, Boots, he's always looking for that dance partner. Thurman, if he's serious about his intentions here as he's come back, then yeah, he should take that fight. So yeah.
I'm scared. I don't
or maybe
know.
He's just a bit risk adverse these days, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that's a big risk right there.
Yeah. I think since he lost Baccala, he's been like very careful about who he wants to fight, maybe, but because I think.
That's what Sandridge, Greg Sandridge. Okay, I see who it is now. Facebook user. I wasn't sure who it was because on this thing, of course, it doesn't show us. Shout out to my man Sandridge. Mad, motivated, ambitious, driven. Mad.
I was wondering why somebody would just go in with this name, Facebook user, very anonymous, like.
Yeah, there's some reason it does that with all the Facebook people who post. Mad.
Mr. User.
Yeah, shout out Simplified, my guy right there. It's good stuff.
Nice.
But you're right, that is what separates the great from the average, taking risks. Yeah, Keith Thurman, he was about that at one point. He was definitely about that. I think all this time off, he's kind of changed a little bit, you know.
Yeah, he's kind of how do you call it? Yeah, he's kind of been too lazy, I guess, too picky with his, who he's gonna fight, and you can't afford that if you really want to be, the best. And
I agree. I agree. But yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, hey, I know. Yeah, we were looking to do an hour here, but we're gonna come back tomorrow. We're coming back tomorrow to discuss this. You down for it?
I know. Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Cool. I already have something pre-scheduled. We can make it happen. We're gonna be up in this thing tomorrow. Thanks everyone for joining in. And I guess like we said, prediction wise, it's gonna be a very good fight, I believe. And as they say, may the best man win.
We can hope.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope it is. I think that Bivol has more to him than some may think. So I think he's gonna make it very, very interesting. But yeah, if I were a betting man, it's hard to bet against Canelo. If I were a betting man, it's hard to bet against Canelo at this particular stage. So I think that you can use that as you wish if you're planning on making any bets tonight. But
Yeah,
if you wanted to cash out on a potential, then yeah, Bivol is the type of fighter that hey, he's good enough to get the job done. It's just a matter
yeah,
of
he is.
will he.
Yeah, he's one of the best candidates right now to beat Canelo anyway.
Yeah, and I gotta give him props, Canelo props too, because he's taking these fights at these bigger weights,
Yeah,
and they're not catch weights. So he's fighting at 168, he's fighting at 175,
yep.
and
He's
eventually
got
maybe cruiserweight and heavyweight.
all his victories have given him more self confidence. I mean, yeah,
Without a
everything.
doubt. Without a doubt. Salute Rodolfo. Salute Owen. Sandridge. Ranger
Salutes.
Danger. John. Miter.
Yeah,
Tiran. Scrapbook. Everybody who came through. Thank you. And have a
thank
good one,
you.
everyone.